Ta-da! Hey everyone, welcome to the video. My name is Owen Fox and I work as somebody who helps people with communications, especially learning in my own life. So what I've learned, and in this video I want to talk about the story and history of triggers. So for example, when people get emotionally charged, which is another way of saying triggered, that's because of the trauma that they've basically had in the past, coupled with their programming or conditioning and their brainwashing, conditioning, programming, indoctrination, etc. Those type of words. But it's mostly really truly related to trauma. So it's a perpetual cycle of someone who's hurt, traumatized, and abused ends up hurting, traumatizing, and abusing their children or their partner or somebody else in life. It could be the playground bully. They've been hurt, traumatized, and abused at home, and then they act up and end up hurting, traumatizing, and abusing another kid. And when we become adults, we basically do the same thing. We end up blaming, criticizing. It was all you. It was your fault. You did this. I did nothing. You did it all. It's all your fault. And basically speaking, everyone, it's a very sad cycle, which is what I want to convey in this video, because they actually are a victim. The person who's now creating a new victim is the victim themselves. So like one of my favorite teachers called Bashar says, it takes a victim to make a victim. And like some people say, it's ancestral healing. It's like breaking patterns that have been passed down in families generationally. So for example, exactly what I'm talking about, stopping the lineage, the line of abuse, by becoming the person who wishes to change the patterns of abuse, trauma, and to seek healing and awareness and wisdom and knowledge and education about all these subject matters of psychology, self-awareness, healing, energy healing, self-awareness, self-empowerment, all those topics, which are basically very overlapping, very similar, I've seen this in my own life extensively, everyone, in my own relationships to date, right now, and even in the past. And it's been getting better over time, It's been getting better. And as you learn, it gets a lot easier and better. Lessons occur, but you have more tools and awareness and knowledge and information and education or wisdom to deal with it. But in this video, I want to share with you what I wrote a few days ago on Facebook, yesterday. Lovely birdie. How often you get emotionally charged, or to what intensity, shows and reflects how much healing you have done or have yet still to do. So in my life, for example, I used to get very upset pretty easy, and emotionally charged and angry and upset and irritated and frustrated and annoyed, and life sucked in many ways, quite a fair bit at the time. And that's because in the past I'd suffered emotional and mental trauma and abuse for a lot of my early life, the first 8 years of my life especially, and then it continued on after that in different ways up to the age of 18 when I finished school. There's a lot of trauma for me to heal in my own life. So throughout the years since I started my healing process, my awakening, which is just the beginning of a new phase of healing and awareness and self-awareness and education and information gathering about all these topics of psychology and the ego or healing and self-awareness, I've been on this path for 13 years now. And if you compared me now to 13 years ago, it's like crazy. I used to be always getting annoyed, upset, and frustrated. Now I'm much more in the flow, seeing synchronicities. Life is still challenging because we'll always be learning, and it's always going to be a challenge until the day we die here on Earth, because Earth is like a school and a creation ground to expand and to create as we change and evolve. So while we're alive, we'll always have lessons to learn and challenges exist. But the thing is, you gain more tools and you've less triggers, because the more you heal, like I said earlier on Facebook yesterday, the more you heal, the less you're triggered, and the less intense of the triggers, and the less often the triggers. So it's really fantastic. You can see it so easily. Like, I can so see it in other people. I can see how much abuse or trauma you've had and how much healing you've yet to do or have done very, 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 very clearly in people. And I can see it very, 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 very clearly in my mum too. She doesn't get like peed off and frustrated and cranky and upset and annoyed and blaming and critical and heavy energy and grumpy. And yeah, we all like get like this to a certain degree, but if I compare it to before all this healing we've done and self-awareness, it's huge. It's night and day. So before you finish watching this video, before I finish making the video, I want to just hammer home, have awareness of the fact when people get triggered and emotionally charged, when things really annoy people very easily, or people are assuming things and they're making up things and they're imagining the worst, or they're taking things out of context and out of proportion, they're blowing things out of proportion, they're imagining things in their worse way than they really are. That's from a mixture of their trauma that's unhealed yet, and their awareness of their trauma and their awareness of their mind. So they are a hurt victim who's still suffering, and what I want you to do in this video, what I want you to do in life, is to don't attack and fight and I'm doing it at the moment. Don't attack and fight and hurt more these people who are suffering, but have compassion and understanding on them. Understanding is the most important thing, which brings compassion. Understanding is the first most important thing you can do for someone who's hurt or triggered. Understand the fact why they're like this, which I'm explaining in this video, and which will lead to compassion and sensitive, loving, tender heart, gradually, better than you had before the understanding. And it helps. Don't compound the situation by hurting them more. That's what I really want you not to do, and help your partner or your teacher in life, who's the one who triggers you the most. They, what some people call a reflector mirror, your unhealed traumas, hurt and abuse, by getting you to be emotionally charged. So you can then look at your emotionally charged reactions and say, whoa, I have this. Thank you for showing it to me. Like a mirror, the life is like showing it back to you, like someone's torch bearer, you call it, like showing you, look at yourself. You didn't see before, but now I've annoyed you in your eyes. Or maybe I have acted in a not nice way and you're annoyed. And now you can look at yourself so you can heal. I might inspire you to go to a healer, a Reiki healer, or energy healer, any healer of any kind, as well as to become an examiner and studier of your own life. Because that's what I do, everyone. You have to do that. You have to examine yourself. Look at yourself instead of blaming others too much. Don't really blame anyone, really, to be honest. Like, obviously, if someone's clearly downright abusive, just leave the situation. And obviously, they shouldn't be doing that idealistically whatsoever. But in ordinary daily life, like someone's 5 minutes late, you get really annoyed. Like that's that's your own thing to deal with. The child spills something and you get really annoyed. Like that's your own thing to deal with. It's not the child's fault. You can't give out and expect children not to be children. Children are children. Traumatized adults are traumatized adults. We cannot expect things unrealistically to be different when we're talking about children or traumatized adults, which nearly every adult is. So we can't expect people to be better than they are. They can only give what they have available and access to give. You can't expect someone who's really abused, traumatized, and had so much hurt in their life, and pain and anguish and misery and crying and sadness, and potentially not want to live anymore, or even suicidal. We can't expect them to be all like hunky-dory, perfect, behaved, respond brilliantly to you. You aren't like that yourself, and neither am I. So we have to do our best and have understanding. So break the cycle. How well you're able to respond or react shows how much healing you've done and how much healing you've yet to do. So if you notice within yourself or someone else look at everyone in your life, how often do they get reactive? How often do they get very heavy in their energy? How often do they get interrupting you? How often do they lose control of themselves? How often are they looking for people, things, behaviors, or food or drugs to cope? That shows, they're all indicators, everybody. How many healthy habits do you have compared to unhealthy habits? They're all indicators. So let's have love and compassion and understanding. Let's have understanding. I'll just keep it simple. Let's have understanding, which leads to compassion and love. let's not hurt the victim anymore and help understand them, so we stop hurting the victim, break the cycle. Let's stop focusing on the fact that you became reactive or emotionally charged first, and let us don't become emotionally reactive and emotionally charged at that person who did it first. And if we happen to be the person who becomes emotionally reactive or triggered first, help the people not to become emotionally reactive or triggered with us being unfriendly and very emotional. Try educate them, help them become wise and aware about us, help us to let ourselves understand ourselves, help others people to understand us, and then we can all work together and cope better for a brighter, happier, better future. Everyone, I swear, I promise you, like, this is so powerful and really help you so much in your life. So I can't emphasize how much this is like life transformative, and it's just one of the it's many lessons all in one of living here on earth as a divine light being, or whatever, like an aspect of consciousness, of God or source or the universe. So it's just a temporary trip here. We're spiritual beings having a human experience. So what I'm saying in this video is so powerful and important to everyone. It's like it's healing ancestral cycles that have been there for who knows how long. It's an awakening of consciousness, a way higher, like, different vibration. It's so powerful, everyone. I really, really hope this helps you so much, and it really means so much to my heart to, like, learn this and to share with you, so hopefully it can help you in learning, because it really, really means so much to everyone. And never be self-critical if you feel you've got a lot of healing still to do. Never be self-critical. It's not about the past. It's about finding solutions going forward. Even in relationships, it's not about, like, digging in and making a big digging in, like, never make somebody wrong. Everyone, try to let that go. Like, drop making somebody wrong for their behavior, their feelings, or their thoughts. Try and stop this in your life about yourself and other people, because usually that's the number one. That's invalidation. To validate someone, to say, I understand where you're coming from, that makes sense. Yeah, your thoughts, behavior, feelings make sense. I understand where you're coming from. I get you. That's understanding. That's like what I was saying earlier, but I'm just explaining even further now. So validate and get the make sense part for yourself and for the people, and the world will be a so much happier place, and our relationships will have so much more peace. And you won't have to keep thinking about breaking up all the time as much or for as long. You can heal together in a relationship, but you need two people to be willing, and you have to communicate and be willing to communicate. In general, sometimes you need some space too. So yeah, let us not work on ourselves first. Let us point the finger at ourselves, see where we can not get emotionally charged as much, improve that aspect, and the trigger part are the same thing. So try and improve that part about us, and know we're all equal and we're all have different paths to heal and to learn. So never, like, try and make somebody worse or somebody better than you or worse than you, or you better or worse than anybody else. We're all the same. Same way as a mechanic is the same as a shaman. Like, a carpenter is the same way as somebody like me. Like, I'm not good with my hands, like doing all carpentry and woodwork or roofing, but I'm good with these stuff. So we all serve a function. That's why it's very important to work together. And the spiritual or the subtle is no better than the physical or the slower or the denser, like doing roofing or carpentry or laying bricks or sewing or knitting or planting trees or, like, cleaning up the place. We all serve a function, and there's no better or worse, everyone. Seriously, like, in the spiritual community, I see people, like, thinking like one is better than the other, but it's not. We're all in it together. Yeah, I'm coming down a second to finish the video. So yeah, let's have that humbleness, or the reality. Real humility is reality. It's not a fake sense of I'm trying to be humble or worse than others. It's reality. We're equal. So lots of love, everyone. Please do share and like this video. Please share, or if you have any comments or questions, please leave them down below. When you share, like, or engage with the video, it helps support the channel, my life, my loved ones. When you buy from my herbstore below, it helps support my life, my loved ones, my family, my children, and my mom. I do thank you all for doing all that, and it helps also spread the message to other people who could help hear this. So if you know any friends or family or social community you could share this video with, please do, and I'd be so delighted to hear back from you if it helped you in any way, because it's really come straight from my heart, and love and care for you all. Like, I've come from the depths of darkness, didn't want to live anymore for a very long time, and life was just pure hell almost. I hated it. I really didn't want to live. I just had, like, between 1% and 5% hope left, which kept me going. That was 13 years ago, 14 years ago, and life was very sad and hard from back then. But I've been inspired to make 1,500 videos for you all for free as a gift on YouTube, and I love it, and it brings me a lot of satisfaction and fulfillment, and I'm really glad to be able to do this. So I thank the internet. I thank myself having to be alive, to have eyes and a mouth and a throat and lungs and fresh air, Mother Nature, Father Nature. So have a lovely day and get out there in nature. Oh, by the way, today's my birthday. I forgot to say that. 7th of January 2019, and I'm 37 years on this earth. And I saw 1111 today at 77% battery, so I got to 771111 on the 7th of the 1st, which is today, my birthday. Okay, thanks everyone, lots of love, and have a lovely day. Enjoy yourself, and thanks for watching. Thanks.